Hey everybody, it's Conservation Conversation number 28. I'm going to start with some very exciting news. You will have seen just this morning that we announced the support slot for our Royal Albert Hall gig coming up in March 2026 is none other than Hayden Thorpe. I'm really personally, and the whole band is deeply thrilled to have Hayden joining us on the bill because Hayden's an artist whose songs we've been singing along to since as far back as 2006. And we followed Hayden right through to the mesmerizing concert just last week in London's Barbican with full orchestra and live readings from one of our favorite collaborators, Robert McFarlane, who was responsible for helping bringing Hayden's latest album, Ness, fully to life. If you want to see some of what they're doing, excitingly with that is there's a 9th of December concert coming up with one of our favorite choirs, Syrinx, who are 50 voices who get involved in bringing Ness into your ears in a stunning, unique way. I would strongly recommend going to see that, but then definitely come along and see Hayden performing with us at the Royal Albert Hall in March. No other news for today, just thanks again for tuning in to the Conservation Conversations, and I can't wait to introduce you to my guest, who is another of the acts from next year's Manchester Folk Festival. I've been waiting to meet these guys for a long time because we formed around the similar times, and we've never met on the road, but we've crossed over at many festivals, and we share a lot in common, I think. It's without further ado, I'm going to bring into the room Skinny Lister. Welcome,
Hi there.
Lorna and Dan.
Hi.
Thanks for
Thank you
joining
for,
me.
yeah, thanks for having us.
Great to
Nice
see
to
you.
meet you.
So I'm really interested to ask you these conservation questions that I've been putting to all my guests, but particularly one which has to do with a hill where you filmed one of your music videos. Maybe I'll just launch straight into that song. I'll ask you about that song on the latest album. It's a really exciting time for you because you've got at least 25 tour dates in the diary before we even get to Manchester Folk Festival in March. You've got a very busy rest of your year going on. And this is in celebration of the latest album that came out in about May this year. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yes, something like that. Yep,
Right.
I think it was.
The song I'm really excited to quiz you about is Songs from the Yonder.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, maybe I can launch straight into that and ask you
Yeah,
about, was it fun making the music video?
Well, Song from the
It was
Underwear.
fun.
Which one was the video for that one? That's
Yeah,
the
come on,
Me
it's
and You.
Me and You.
Yeah, is that the one you're
That
referring to?
romantic
Yeah,
day,
you've got this
Dan.
amazing split screen.
That's right. Yeah.
Lorna's having a coffee, Dan's having a
Yes,
pint.
that's the one.
And
Yeah.
then I want to get to my favorite moment, which I'm still trying to really figure out what I'm seeing here. It's when you flip without warning into halftime, slow-mo. You do the Chris Martin thing that he does in the Scientist video.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it looks like you must have had a backing track that was playing at normal speed, and then you must have quickly switched into one that was playing at double time and filmed in slow-mo.
Indeed.
I don't know how you accomplished that, but it
That's
looks
the
great.
behind the scenes trickery of it. And I mean, yeah, it was a track that it was playing at normal speed, and then suddenly it clicks to double
Was that
speed.
my job?
It was my job, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think it was me. But yeah, then you've suddenly got to sing like a maniac for
Yeah.
30 seconds, and then you turn that to normal speed, your frame rate, and then it will magically make it look like slow motion. So yeah.
Yeah, we've tried that before in Stornoway Land. There's one video where we sung in slow-mo for Get Low, and it involved driving very quickly along an airplane runway out in the countryside with these geese flying just to the right of us, and we were
nice.
supposed to lip sync to a track that I think wasn't doubled, it was quadrupled in speed.
Oh wow!
So
Okay.
I've got the actual like raw footage. We hid a little camera in the base of the car looking up at us, and it just looks psychotic. And we had to do about 10 takes, so I've got
It's
lots of this
tricky.
crazy footage.
The faster it gets, the more tricky it gets. It's hard to get it bang on, but that sounds fun. On a runway, we've not done that one yet. So,
yeah. But the album came
I've
out
been
in the second quarter of this year, right? So now this is kind of a victory lap of these 25 or so dates.
I suppose so. Yeah, I mean, we did a little, the sort of record shop kind of tour with a few sort of proper dates as well around it at the time of release, which was a lot of fun. And
But we've kind of built a tradition of doing some gigs at the end of the year and ending with like a big Christmas party in London. So it's kind of a just seems the right way to end the year now. Otherwise, it doesn't
It's
feel
become a
right.
thing now. The big Christmas show in London is like, I think that's it for life now. We're
Yeah.
it's going to happen every year. But yeah, and I mean we've been to US? Was that before that? Or I
I
can't
think
remember.
that was March this
That was
year.
March. So we were kind of playing some of the album tracks in the US as well, and we toured there earlier in
Yeah.
the year. So yeah, it feels like it's been out for a little bit now, but it's nice. People have familiarized themselves with the tracks, hopefully, and we can all have a good sing along.
Yeah.
At the end of the year.
It's really smart. I love that idea that an artist can come back to the same, roughly same place, roughly same time of year, and people know that they're going to be there. So fans can kind of get it into their psychology, into their calendar, and book out that weekend. Hey, this is our Skinny Lister weekend. Don't forget.
Yeah. Well, it kind of,
yeah, there's a lot of
working out.
competition
Yeah.
nowadays. But
a lot of people say that Christmas doesn't officially start until they've joined us, the Skinny Lister, at the Christmas.
Oh yeah,
London,
yeah, lovely.
so,
That's really good. So at your gigs, which are notoriously shindigs, hoedowns, are very, very live. It's a proper live experience. Is there ever a particular thing that fans come say, dressing up fancy, if it's a Halloween or it's a Christmas, or is it something that they bring the energy to give back what you guys pour in? Because I know you're exhausted at the end of each gig. It's absolutely feats of athleticism as far as your performance is concerned.
Well, I grew up in pubs where everyone had, stand around drinking beer and singing the hearts out, and I guess we definitely wanted to bring that into what we do, because there's something so great about it that we just
but yeah, we know, I mean, we don't specify what people should wear in the first
wear what you want, mate. I don't care.
Although we have been known to
just bring a good attitude,
get involved in those stuff ourselves and wear some costumes sometimes, but I mean, it's just a free for all, a Skinny Lister gig, and the energy that the crowd brings is what powers us through a gig, and I mean, as you know yourself, that sort of thing. I mean, there's nothing that makes us happier than having a room full of people singing along with us, and and the sea shanties and that sort of stuff. It's a proper communal experience.
Absolutely, yeah. And loads of your recordings are like many voices singing at once, especially in the choruses. You make it clear to people who are listening to the record before they come to the gig, this is what it's going to sound like. Everyone,
we'll give them all the clues are there. No excuses.
So a couple of detailed questions about your music. I want to know, so where this hill was that you filmed that slow-mo sequence for Songs from the Yonder, because you panned to Bridges in Newcastle. I believe that is next. So
no,
close by.
That is actually Bristol, because we've kind of moved about a bit as a band. We formed in London years ago, around the time you just mentioned, when we kind of probably formed around a similar time. Me and Lorna then moved to Hastings for quite a while. A couple of the guys moved to Bristol, and now we're in Bristol for kind of family reasons and things. So that bridge you see in Song from the Yonder is the Clifton Suspension Bridge in Bristol.
Oh, brilliant.
The hill I think you're referring to is that what's it called?
That's that one where we drove out a bit, where I was hiding behind the rocks.
Yeah, that's what was it? It's
come on,
something Point Sands End or something. It's down near Weston-super-Mare.
Okay.
So it's not. It's more like a little peninsula.
Yeah,
that speaks out into the sea, and I'm kind of on that, I think.
Would it be any good for hosting a gig on a place like that, too windswept?
It is very windswept. In fact, we had to we were going to shoot the drone footage on the end, but it was far too windy. Even on a still day, it's very blustery out there. So we kind of moved it down onto the beach area, where at least we got a little bit of shelter. But you could have a gig down there on the beach. It'd be a bit of a trek for people to get to, but it's a nice little space there.
Because we're compiling this list of wild places where music might be enjoyed by an audience, and we've got like caves and forests and places where you want to be able to go and not disturb any of the wildlife or any of the environment happening there, the ecology, but still enable people to have a kind of a unique experience and reconnecting with nature. And that's where I've been asking my guests a particular question around conservation in the environmental sense. So apart from those places you've just mentioned, are there any other green spaces or far-flung locations, maybe on your travels, which you do many, that you've encountered that has inspired your own music making, and you want to bring an audience someday to experience music in this natural location?
I don't know, when you mention stuff like that, it takes me back to our early days again, which the first ever tour we did was a narrowboat tour on the Grand Union Canal. And we'd stop along the canal and do gigs on the side of the canal, or maybe in a pub garden on the side of the canal or something. So it's not particularly out in the wilderness, but it was very attached to, it did feel very rural and attached to nature. And actually our songwriting around that time was very rural. There was lots of imagery, countryside imagery. We used to do a lot of walking in the Lake Districts and stuff before we had a little one. There's a lot of that stuff crept into our lyrics, but the first tour, as I say, was on a narrowboat, and that kind of linked into that whole ethos of the band at that time.
Well, I feel like that runs through all our songs as well. And you know, you mentioned songs from the Yonder where we're out and about in the wild, so to say. But just yesterday, I was we were up at the crack of dawn filming a sunrise video.
Well, we were up before the crack of dawn, because the theme of the video was the crack of dawn.
Fortunately, the hour had just gone back, so it wasn't quite as brutal as it could have been, but it was still pretty brutal. But so we always like to get out and about, but a specific place.
Specifics are tricky, isn't it? I mean, the sea as well for us is a big place, and just as a thing, the sea, I find, I grew up in a seaside town in Yorkshire, in Bridlington, and
we
the
did
sea's
have a
always
gig on
there.
the boat up there, didn't we? The Pleasure Cruiser.
Well,
that was pretty special, with dolphins going along the side of the boat.
It was the album launch for this launch party for the album we just released that you mentioned. We had it on the Yorkshire Belle, which is a cruiser in Bridlington. So that was funny, and it was with the dolphins. They swam with us. It was a beautiful moment. So that's kind of applicable, you know. Hard
I've
to recreate.
Talked to some other Bridlington locals, the Proper Walkers, a couple of guys who do lead hikes around Bridlington and RSPB Brampton Cliffs as well.
Well, that's all the puffins. It's pretty amazing. We've been there when that's happening. I mean, it's there's a lot of puffins gathered there.
Lovely. Well, I wanted to also ask you about the wildlife that features in your artwork in a couple of different places. So most particularly, I noticed on the badges that people could sew to a t-shirt or a backpack, you've got these stag's horns. And because I've just been reading the most amazing book, which is all about the role of the stag as a folklore character, I wanted to quiz you. Is there anything deep about the stag horns there? They do just look really cool, so it might just be that
they look cool. That's it.
Well, it is a bit that, but it goes a little bit deeper, because the name Skinny Lister, when you were kind of a solo guy, weren't you? I suppose.
Well,
came up with the name Skinny Lister, and we didn't know what it meant or anything. So my brother, when he was doing the logo, looked into the Lister family, and it's actually the Lister family's crest, coat of arms, and it had two stags in it. So then we sort of borrowed that and worked with it, and so over the years that's kind of just evolved into our artwork. We
also at the time we used to have a Land Rover that we used to travel everywhere in. Before we got a drummer, we needed a bigger vehicle, but we used to have a skull on the top. I don't know what animal was it.
I think it
used to have horns on it. It wasn't quite antlers, but that imagery was kind of with us, I think, in those early days. So it's kind of stayed there, but there's no deep and meaningfuls, unfortunately. It's just we kind of like the feel of that look.
Well, I think I'll name check this book that I've been reading. When I say I've been reading it, it's been about 2 months of reading it and nothing else. I've read it about 3 times back to back, around and around again. It's called Mischief Acts, and it's by a writer called Zoe Gilbert. It's the best book I've ever read, for sure. Right. It's just like this. It's really deep, strange history of a particular bit of woodland in the southeast of England. It goes back 1,000 years. And there's woodland still there today as tiny bits of fragments that are still looked after by conservation volunteers. But when it was the fully fledged woodland, people used to be quite spooked out by it. They would go in, do a bit of coppicing to get the wood they needed, and then run straight out because it was it had all this folklore associated with it, especially this character called Herne, who was the god of mischief. And it just strikes me that Skinny Lister's got a kind of mischievous edge to the live show where people, there's maybe a threat. You don't know how exciting and maverick it's going to be on the night. So you better bring like properly, proper boots. I know the boots is another iconography.
Boots, yeah. I mean, Doc Martens, and they kindly keep us in Doc Martens, which is good. But when you say danger there, I was thinking, no, it's not dangerous at Skinny Lister again. But then I remembered you knocked someone unconscious last year, didn't you? No, she staged Dove. Dove.
Happened to best of us.
Anyway, but
it's the only time I can say I've knocked out a 6 foot fella.
It was fine.
He came the next night, so it was all right.
I know. I do have experience of that, where someone who you think should really have maybe a grudge to bear, and maybe even like a legal charge to bring, they just turn up the merch desk and they're like, "That was the best night I've ever had."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You always.
We always get a little bit more nervous when we're in America, because they're a little bit more trigger happy on the suing culture, aren't they? But we try and be as careful as we can be.
But well, talking about music, and then taking your music, which is the sound of folk in a really upbeat kind of arrangement, taking it all over the world into America. I want to ask you, as we're leading up to the Manchester Folk Festival, about that blend of old folk styles and then bring in the kind of new raw energy that you guys bring into it. So it's the question about conservation in the musical sense and how you fuse the old with the new. You feel free to talk about your own music here, or also any music that you've encountered in the past that maybe has been inspiring to you, that particularly well balances the old with the new. Anything come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's sort of the crux of our band, I think, at the beginning was that blend of the traditional, but creating original songs, original songwriting, because I was always interested in original songwriting. But we were always very excited. With me and Max, for instance, would go to parties and he'd bring his squeeze box and I'd have the guitar, and the stuff we could get the party alive by playing certain traditional tunes that just sort of touch people somewhere in the soul. And to try and combine that was sort of the trick of what we were doing. So when on our first album, there's tracks like Rolling Over, which is an original song. It's got an air of it could have been written a while back, but it's also has little fragments of, it's got Harper's Frolic in it, for instance, that one. So it's got this traditional tune that keeps jumping in.
Okay.
But the aim was to make it completely seamless, where it's it's invisible and it's an original song, but with those traditional elements. And it isn't a case of trying to keep those elements alive or anything. It's just we really like the tunes, and they're really good fun to play, dance to, sing along to, all that stuff.
Yeah, so, that's great. Yeah. How about you, Lorna? Any particular favorites there?
Favorites? Well, I mean, I think the Pogues as well. They're playing old tunes, but doing it with that live raw energy that's just, it's infectious, and everyone has a great time, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But obviously they're not new anymore either.
No, they're not new.
But it was that kind of thing, taking something so traditional and just giving it such an energy that it becomes something else and reaches a whole new audience. Is kind of great. And obviously they've been a massive influence on a lot of the bands that we play with. Actually, we've been lucky enough to support Dropkick Murphys across the world, and Flogging Molly, and they wouldn't mind saying themselves that they owe a lot to bands like the Pogues, the Pogues in particular. So I think what they did is very special, and in a different way we try and do something similar, I suppose.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you. I love the responses I get from guests on that particular question, because as we lead up to the Manchester Folk Festival, it sort of gives us a bit of an insight into what the audience can expect if they come along to your set in March 2026. And so, thanks for answering that one. I think we're reaching towards the end now, and I'm wanting to ask you: is there anything particular you're excited about for the Manchester Folk Festival, or for the Sound Roots organisation that helps to run that? Do you know much about them? Have you been involved with them before, or is this festival the first time?
We have played Manchester Folk Festival before, haven't we? Had a great time at the Ritz with
We did.
Will Varley.
We think it was the Folk Festival.
It was. It definitely was. I know that.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's a great weekend. It's great.
Yeah.
We don't know a great deal about the how it's organised and stuff, but it's we had such a good time at that last one, and we play in a venue this time called Band on the Wall.
Yeah.
And even though we've played Manchester a ton of times, we've never played Band on the Wall.
Yeah, and did the band members stand in the wall? That's something that someone told me, that in the past, definitely, the band members used to stand in little holes and play
I hope not.
in the wall. But I don't think that's the case anymore. But
No.
apparently it was.
Yeah.
Hence the name.
Yeah, that sort of rings a strange bell for me. I think maybe I've heard the same story, and whether it's like apocryphal or something, it's definitely a story that gets out there. But you can imagine it happening, because I think that venue sort of closed down tragically for a while because it ran out of money or something, and then it reopened. And I haven't been in there and seen anyone standing in the wall. But I've only been there since it reopened.
I've got my red heels and dancing around. It's precarious. I have fallen off a stage before, and Max has as well. So I don't want to fall off a wall. That
we shall find out in March anyway. We'll find out.
Well, the other thing that's going on with the Sound Roots organisation there, who helped run this festival, is they've launched the Folk Album of the Year award.
Ah, yes. Well, I'm aware of that. Yeah. Okay.
So there's a deadline for that. If you want to submit yours to it, maybe you already have.
We may well be entered.
Great.
Whether we'll get considered, which shall I say? But yeah, okay, yeah, and that seems like a great thing.
Yeah.
Is that a new thing? Is that brand new?
This is the first year it's running, and it's kind of masterminded by this fantastic broadcaster, Matthew Bannister, who has a very long career stretching back into the back 90s, 80s, perhaps, doing really big things on the BBC. What he does now is run one of the most incredible, inspiring vaults of music archives. It's called Folk on Foot.
And
I think you guys would be great on Folk on Foot. But they together with Sound Roots, Matthew's launching this Folk Album of the Year award, because he's run the folk album chart show for a long time now, which is a totally independent chart that just wasn't happening back in the day until he sort of struck out to create one. So now he's turning that into an award, and this will be the first year that people are eligible to get the award. So they have to submit their album by the end of this Sunday.
It's great, and I think anything like that sort of gives more exposure to the folk genre, I think, is amazing. And we've been lucky enough to be on including the chart show and stuff when we've released our albums and stuff. And the award, it seems like a good logical extension of that. That's exciting. Yeah.
Great. I'm going to be at the festival myself on Thursday 20th. I think it's Friday 20th of March. So I'll spend the whole weekend there and see you guys there.
Oh, brilliant!
Nice.
Yeah. Stornoway had a great time playing there this year, 2025. So we'll see how many of us come along and enjoy it as punters in 26.
Nice.
It's the week before our Royal Albert Hall show, so help us get.
That's amazing.
That sounds amazing.
Albert Hall, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's been. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a real pleasure talking to you both. Thanks so much for your time, and I can't wait to meet you in person over in March.
Yeah, we'll have a drink.